Hello and welcome back to Phoenix Dreams, and it's time for the science theme. I haven't really got a name yet, but I'm suggesting one. Tell me what do you think about it. I want to call it Fundu Science Facts. So it's fun. It's Fundu. There are a lot of fantasies involved in that as well. I don't know how true they're going to be, but just my thoughts. So Fundu Science Facts it is that I'll be calling the science edition of Phoenix Dreams. Now, what I have for you today is something which is a bit of a fantasy, but I thought I'd share it with you because it's a deep thought for me. And there have been a couple of crows trying to build a nest in my balcony, and the same two crows have been visiting us for the bowl of water that we keep them. We feed them daily, and what I've realized over a period of time that crows are highly intelligent birds compared to a lot of other birds that you commonly see. They're quite intelligent. And the reason I'm saying that is because if you notice a crow and you compare it maybe with a pigeon, you'd see that the size of a crow's head is quite bigger than that of a pigeon, which means the bigger the head, the bigger the brain. So if you compare the proportion of the crow's brain to its body, it is a higher proportion compared to maybe a pigeon or a sparrow, and higher the proportion, the brain to body proportion, the more intelligent the animal is. So that's why these guys are pretty intelligent, and these two who've been frequenting my home these days have even begun to understand me when I talk to them. They even eat out of my hands these days. So we're communicating. Right. So the point I'm trying to make is not about how intelligent a crow is, but the point I'm trying to make is how intelligent you are, how intelligent a species is, depends on your brain. So that is one of the primary reasons why human beings are the most dominant species on the planet. We have one of the highest brain to body size proportions, and that's why we dominate the world. But it might not have been like this through history. If things would have been slightly different, things would not have been like this, because there are other animals too. There are other animals too who have an equal, if not more, brain to body proportion. It is just that circumstances happen in the history of evolution which changed that. Now there's a chimpanzee which is quite an intelligent animal, but not as much as humans, and that's why they still are not up the ladder yet. But there's one animal I would like to specifically speak about, which is known, again, I'm not saying it out of any scientifically backed research-based evidence from what I have read extensively. It might be true, it might not be, it might be an entire fantasy, but just something for us to ponder about. And I'll tell you in the end why I'm saying all this. You see, the animal I'm talking about is the dolphin. The dolphin is, one thing is acknowledged over the world, that the dolphin is a highly intelligent animal. Now we all know dolphins as those cute, marine animals who, whenever we go on these journeys in the water, pop out, entertain us, jump, or in these SeaWorld themed places, they do these tricks for us. But the dolphin is a highly intelligent animal, and if you go back a few thousand years, the dolphin was not the aquatic animal, the aquatic mammal. It's not a fish, by the way. The dolphin was not an aquatic mammal that we know it to be today. The dolphin was a territorial animal, a terrestrial animal. It lived on land, but its primary food was seafood. It hunted on fish and other aquatic animals. So even though it was a terrestrial animal, it spent most of its times on the shores. And to hunt its prey, it had to go into the water repeatedly. So when it was a terrestrial animal, it had four legs like other animals. It resembled one of the big cats, and it had four legs and hind legs, and it walked on four legs. But like I said, as time moved, and all of these changes happened not overnight. Evolution takes time to happen. As time moved on, since they were they spend more amount of time in water as compared to land. Gradual changes began to take place in their body. Their forelimbs, the front legs, as you say, began to slowly evolve into flippers, and their hind legs completely disappeared. So they acquired the body of a fish, which made them more streamlined and more effective in swimming in the water faster. So they moved on to being entirely aquatic animals. They don't have gills, by the way. Like I said, they aren't fish. So they have to surface every 20 minutes or so. They can hold their breath longer. But they have to surface every 20 minutes or so to take a breath of fresh air and then dive down once again. But they are aquatic mammals. Now the point I'm trying to make here is that if things would have changed a bit, or if things wouldn't have changed a bit, and dolphins would have remained terrestrial animals, maybe today they would have been the dominant species on Earth, and we would have been their pets or kept in their zoos, because it is also known, again, not entirely sure about this, but it is mentioned by many in many scientific papers that dolphins also have a language of their own in which they communicate to each other. They use ultrasonic sounds which we can't hear, and we spoke about ultrasonic and infrasonic a few videos ago. So they use ultrasonic sound to communicate to each other. So they do probably have a language of their own. So my point is, it could have, if a small thing changed sometime in history, it would have been the dolphins would have been the dominant species on Earth. Now, it is not just our brain that makes us the dominant species. There are a few other things as well. We have the opposable thumb, which enables us to hold things. We can stand upright. So there are a lot of things which contributed apart from our brain size to making us the dominant species. So things could have changed for the dolphins as well. They could have developed an opposable thumb. They could have been upright, and they would have been the most dominant species. The point I'm trying to make is that maybe that might have been better. Because if you look at the history of mankind, maybe we haven't really managed our world as well as we should have. The current situation that we are in, not just the pandemic that I'm talking about right now, the last few years we've been talking heavily about global warming, about deforestation, about wars, about pollution. Have we really managed our world as we say, the one we live on, Mother Earth? Have we really managed it well? I'm not so sure. And you know what? Maybe the dolphins would have done a better job, even though we would have been their pets in zoos. Maybe we were not the best suited to take care of Mother Earth. Think about it. The point I'm trying to make is not to put us down. Maybe what I'm trying to say is that this year now is a time for a rethink. Let's just drop our way of thinking and bring about a transformation. Let's go back to the drawing board and rethink. If I wasn't a human being, if I was a dolphin, and if I really cared about the world, how would I have managed it? What is it? What are the mistakes that I've done in my rule as a human being, as a species of this world? So let's try and think like a dolphin. I'm not being specifically, I don't specifically mean a dolphin. I'm just saying let's change the way we think. Because what we're doing right now, the way we're running this world, all of us together, all the worlds of different political thoughts, may it be capitalist or communist or socialist or democratic countries, we're not doing it right. Because if we're doing it right, we wouldn't have been in the situation that we are in today. What Greta Thunberg says is absolutely right. We're sitting at home right now. We have brought this upon ourselves. It is time to change. It is time to rethink the way we're running our lives, the way we're running our planet. Let's start to think like dolphins. Let's unevolve and evolve again. Right? So, just these thoughts that I have for you. Think about it. put your comments in the comment section. It's a very weird thought, I know, but worth thinking about, because this is the time to change. Because if we don't, we might get wiped out, like the Mayan civilization, in Indus Valley civilization, Harappa. I spoke about this a few years ago. We might get wiped out if we don't change something right here, right now. It is time for a transformation. The time is ripe. I don't think we have any more time left if we don't take some drastic steps right now. Right? So that's all I have for you today. Think over it, mull over it. And if you like what you watch, like, share and subscribe. Thank you very much and see you soon.